And a very happy Monday to you at 12:08 in the West. Talk Radio 790 KABC, The John Phillips Show. Broadcasting live from the Morongo Casino Resort and Spa Living Room Studios. And it's time to fully... Boy,
we don't do that anymore.
That's autopilot for me, isn't it? Anyway, I'm at the Morongo Casino Resort and Spa Living Room Studios, and Randy Wang is at the sports desk in Culver City.
John, there are a lot of people getting back from summer vacation. A lot of teachers are getting ready to get back into the school year, and a lot of people wondering, what did you do for your big summer? What did you do for your big summer? Well, if you were curious of what Cecily Myart Cruz did this summer, she went on tour with Lizzo.
I do my hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Hell no!
I really must see more live performances. Play that again.
I do my hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Hell no!
Oh, I'm so happy to be back. 800-222-KABC is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. As I mentioned before, last night was the night I flew back from vacation. And, Randy, I can tell you this. I can identify virtually every part of Dallas-Fort Worth Airport because that's where I spent the day yesterday.
Oh, boy.
4-hour delay, 4 changed gates. Here I am. 1 o'clock in the morning was when I finally made it to bed last night.
You have the worst luck when it comes to flying this year.
I think everyone does. Where the hell is Mayor Pete?
Well, he's working on making sure you get a free sandwich when you get delayed.
There's a problem with a government system. We're going to own it, we're going to find it, and we're going to fix it.
Marvin Zindler, Eyewitness News.
Thanks for being on top of that, Mayor Pete. I appreciate it. All right, we got a big show for you today. Barbara Stone, professor of political science, emeritus at California State University at Fullerton, will be with us for the Fix California Hour. And Mickey Cowes will be here at 2 to talk politics. But first, one of the things that I loved after I Love Lucy went off the air and they transitioned to the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour was that in every episode, there would be a different celebrity guest star. They would do that sometimes in I Love Lucy when they'd bring in John Wayne or they'd bring in a different celebrity to star in an episode. But for the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour, it was literally every single week. And you would see a star of one show with the stars of another show. You would combine your worlds, and it was a thrill for the audience. As the AFTRA SAG strike continues, I kind of feel like we're doing that same thing now. Worlds are colliding because you've got Fran Drescher, who's leading the actors.
Oh, Fran, where are you?
I cannot believe it, quite frankly.
But this has become the mega powers of strikes, and she can't be the only heavyweight involved in this strike. Worlds are colliding, Randy, and she's been joined by another superstar of the labor movement.
That's right. Over the weekend, the WGA strike that is now past day 80 was aided on the picket lines by UTLA and Cecily Myart Cruz.
And I want you to be all the way pissed off.
Now, does this mean that the school year will get delayed until we get a writers and TV contract? Maybe. I don't know.
How exactly did it work out, Randy, with this star power that was brought in?
People were very excited because, especially union members, they treat this woman like a god because she got her contract. They didn't even have to strike. They did a 3-day solidarity strike with the SEIU. They asked for 20%. They got 22%.
And which days did they go on strike, just to clarify things?
Wednesday and Thursday.
That's what I thought.
I mean, the writer's strike has gone for well over
5 weeks.
It started back in
May.
All right, let's go ahead and listen to Cecily Myart Cruz on the picket line.
All right. Are we out here?
A lot of percussionists on the unions these days.
What's the deal with the drummers? Are they sacrificing virgins?
I think you got to do something to break up the boredom of walking around in a circle holding up a sign in the hot sun because Universal Studios trimmed all the trees.
Do they want someone to start dancing so maybe we can break the heat with a little rain?
This is beautiful what we're witnessing, and I think what our brother just said doesn't get lost on us. Solidarity is the absolute way. Right. Collective action brings about change.
She's got a tambourine. Either she's holding the tambourine or someone's trying to tambourine to every single sentence that she's saying.
Yeah, who's on the picket line with her? Paul Schaefer and the CBS Orchestra?
I would assume they're on strike.
Brings about change. You heard 63 years and they were able to get all of these things. I want to tell you, I am proud. I'm honored to stand to be alongside of our siblings in the WGA because that's what UTLA does.
The UTLA school year is supposed to start on August 12th. Do you think there's any possibility we get a solidarity strike and the teachers won't go back to work until the writers do?
What do these unions have in common? One union writes all of the television shows that entertain us. Another union fails to teach the kids how to write.
That is fantastic.
And so, yes, my name is Cecily Meyer Cruz.
She joined by the driver's ed instructors?
I'm the president of United Teachers Los Angeles. UTLA members, are you in the house today?
How are you enjoying your summer vacation? Would you like to come back a couple weeks early and stand in 100-degree heat with the picketers?
You know what it sounds like? If you've ever seen one of these small-time schools on ESPN play basketball, when the opposing team is shooting free throws, they bring out the drums, and it sounds exactly like that.
Here with my officer colleagues, we have UTLA staff and, of course, our members. But bringing you greetings from 37,000 members strong of UTLA is why we are here. Let me say this struggle is linked together. This struggle, when they're talking about fairness, and they're talking about respect, and they're talking about wages.
Just wait till Cecily finds out what the plans are for AI and teaching.
It's going to be a lot harder to keep control of the classroom with all of the phone use and drugs and fighting and whatnot if it's a hologram of a teacher in front of the blackboard instead of an actual teacher.
Yeah, but you don't have to pay the hologram health benefits.
That's true.
That's our struggle, too. So that's why we're always going to be out in support. Fair wages, fairness, dignity, and respect. The labor movement.
Got to get another drum circle in.
Do you think this is their first exposure to Cecily Meyer Cruz, or do you think they know who she is?
I think they're aware who she is. Again, if you're in a union, you look at her and you say, she got her contract.
But here's the thing about the actors and the writers. The actors and the writers don't see themselves as Californians. They see themselves as citizens of the world. My guess is that most of those people don't pay any attention at all to local politics, what goes on in the community they live in. They're far more concerned with global warming and what's going on with Ukraine and famine in Africa and those sorts of things. I bet you this is the first exposure that they've had to Cecily Meyer Cruz for 90+% of them. And boy, were they in for a treat.
I feel like that bongo player's hand is going to hurt real bad tomorrow. He's hitting it harder than Ricky Ricardo.
The labor movement has entered a pinnacle peak.
Pinnacle Peak? That's some good alliteration. It's an English lesson.
It used to be a restaurant in Garden Grove.
Pinnacle peak. Workers are rising up everywhere. And it's beautiful to witness. We are witnessing the absolute power of workers knowing their worth.
Do you think those motorists were supportive of her, or do you think that that was just another smash and grab and that's the alarm going off?
That's the problem. It sounds, so you can't really tell. I got to imagine there were enough honking horns that it's a little of both.
And we have got to make sure that we are unwavering, that we are unapologetic, and that we are not afraid to get in these streets, whether it's rain or shine.
All right, now I got to see if there's any songs with the word shine in them. Let me just save that because I'm sure that is going to be used at some point.
Whether it's rain or shine.
At what point do you realize you've become a parody of yourself? She has to know that she's doing this for us.
Oh, absolutely.
She's doing this for us. She's doing this for the music industry. She's doing this for the people.
I mean, especially as a union boss, and you've got to deal with these executives, or if you're Cecily Meyer Cruz, you have to deal with the superintendent of LAUSD. You've got to be as big a cartoon character as you can. That's why no one was paying attention to Fran Drescher when she was leaving the voicemails, very soft-spoken. But as soon as Fran Drescher started going for it,
I cannot believe it, quite frankly.
then all of a sudden people were paying attention. What are we doing here? We got to figure out this strike.
Okay, you realize it's not only the striking members of AFTRA SAG and the WGA who are hearing this for the first time. All of the big network heads are all watching this in their offices and listening to the sound of what's going on at these rallies. Bob Iger is being exposed to this woman for the first time. Whoever it is that runs Warner Brothers is being exposed to this woman for the first time. Universal. You can go down the list. And I guarantee you, collectively, they're all turning to their 23-year-old assistant and saying the same thing. What the F was that?
They don't want to get on Cecily's bad side. By the way, when you were gone, here's some good Fran that you missed.
And you're trying to screw us as if you're like a land baron of feudal medieval times, and we're your serfs. You know, it's like, wake up and smell the coffee. The jig is up.
Boy, she was starting to sound like Lucille Ball in her final years there.
But she is emulating, as best she can, the OG of union bosses.
Whether it's rain or shine. This is what a hot labor summer looks like.
Hot labor summer.
This is what a hot labor summer looks like. And if we have our way, we are going to have a hot labor fall. We're going to have...
She's going to try to figure out a way to not start school.
Oh, she's going on tour with this. She's going to be like the Grateful Dead and Pat Robertson combined.
We're going to have a hot labor winter. We're going to have a hot labor spring. And y'all get the point.
I mean, if they could figure out a way to solidarity strike with the writers and the actors and UPS and the hotel workers, they could hold everybody, because the last thing anybody wants, no matter what side you're on with this, you don't want the kids staying home from school again. She's got the power.
She can literally bring any industry in this country to its knees.
And y'all get the point. We got to stand strong. We got to stand united. Collective action and solidarity wins collective change. So I know that we're not going to stop. Are you going to stop? No. Hell no.
Now, she's got the crowd. She has them captured. So she's going to try to get them to do, you know, when you're a really popular recording artist and you play one of your hits live, you usually want the crowd to sing part of the chorus back to you. It's a beautiful moment. She tries that, but the crowd isn't exactly sure what they're supposed to say.
Stop. No. Hell no. Hell no. We won't stop. Hell. We won't stop.
Okay. I think she taught, what, elementary school?
Yes.
Okay. She's used to the kids just repeating whatever it is that she says. These are actors. They need instructions from directors. If you don't give them clear instructions, they don't know what to do.
Are you gonna stop?
No. They got it right.
Hell no! Hell no! We won't stop! Hell! We won't stop!
I need another take on that one. And it's at this point I'd like to let you know that I did some digging this weekend and found out that in 1979, Cecily Meyer Cruz went on tour with AC/DC.
I'm on the highway. Hell no!
Oh, it's times like these I wish KLOS was still across the hall.
But let us keep it real.
If you want to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And we know there's lots of Cecily Meyer Cruz fanboys and girls out there. So if you want to go back and re-listen to the opening of today's show, Randy, that's easy to do.
That's right. Just go to KABC.com, click on podcasts, or go to the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify, search for The John Phillips Show, hit subscribe. And I know you've already heard it before, but, if you pound a couple of shots of whiskey, you'll forget that, and this will be the first time you ever heard this.
I do my hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling?
Hell no!
As I mentioned before, our dearly elected leaders here in the state of California look out the window and they see a transient having a Lincoln Douglas-style debate with a lamppost, and they say to themselves, you know what his problem is? Sobriety. Why don't you take some drugs to take the edge off, and maybe that will put you on the path. And Randy, they're moving forward with that.
That's right. Last week, the Secretary of State allowed for signatures to be collected for a possible ballot measure to legalize the therapeutic and recreational use of shrooms.
That's right. And we're not talking about the kind that you get on top of your steak, that you eat in your soup. Maybe you put them in your omelet. This isn't the mushrooms that they sell at Ralph's.
No, these are the kinds that you crumble on top of a pizza because otherwise it just tastes way too terrible.
Are these regarded as psychedelics, Randy?
Why, yes, they are. Some of the basest forms, naturalist forms of psychedelics. People have been using them in religious ceremonies going back tens of thousands of years.
Let's have more on this insanity.
Here is CBS 8.
Cato, now on to our other top story. Californians could soon vote on whether to decriminalize so-called magic mushrooms.
Today, the Secretary...
I think Colorado already beat us to it.
They have a lot of problems in Colorado.
Today, the Secretary of State allowed this decriminalizing in campaign to move forward and begin collecting signatures.
Our political reporter, Morgan Reiner, joins us now to explain what this ballot measure would actually do. Morgan.
Yeah, it would allow doctors to prescribe the mushroom, allow people to grow it, and to use it for recreational purposes. It would also clear criminal...
So then what's the point of having the doctor prescribing if you can also just take it and go to Big Sur?
Yes. What this is going to do is this is going to create an entire industry for crooked doctors who want to advertise in the LA Weekly and do nothing but write these prescriptions.
Yeah, it would allow doctors...
I mean, I haven't done that crap in 10 years, and I'd get one.
Yeah, it would allow doctors to prescribe the mushroom, allow people to grow it, and to use it for recreational purposes. It would also clear criminal records on a case-by-case basis for those who have charges related to those mushrooms.
How many people are sitting in prison because they got booked on shrooms?
No, they're not sitting in prison because they got caught with shrooms. They're sitting in prison because when they were on the shrooms, they did something else.
About magic mushrooms?
Magic mushroom.
It's not every day you walk up to strangers to ask.
Can I ask you how you feel about magic mushrooms?
This is as good of a man on the street report as you can get.
Do you remember when the Keebler elves used to sell the Magic Middles cookies? Where it was a chocolate chip cookie, and I don't know how they surgically injected chocolate pudding into the center of the chocolate chip cookie, but it was delicious, and they called them Magic Middles.
Yeah, this is really just twigs that taste like cow dung, but they make you think differently about life for 4 hours.
Lucky for me, almost everyone was happy to share their thoughts.
Growing up in Northern California, I had friends that would go mushroom hunting.
Nick,
How'd that turn out for him? If you spend your free time going mushroom hunting, my guess is at no point in your life will someone ask you the question, so how's the Senate treating you?
Nick Sandoff said he'd vote for a measure to decriminalize psilocybin mushrooms.
Mushrooms are good for psychedelics, for mental health, and especially based off of the issues we have in California and throughout the United States.
Except for that one time where I did too many and it was the scariest 4 hours of my life. But yes, I agree with you.
Have these people learned nothing from the news cycle for the last, I don't know, how many years has it been since we legalized marijuana?
It's only been since 2018, but it sure feels a lot longer.
That's right around the time that the homeless population started exploding. It's right around the time that crime started exploding. It's right around the time that everything started going to hell. And these people cannot make a connection.
I think it'd be a great idea.
The ballot initiative, which is in the process of gathering signatures, would authorize the growing and distribution of the mushroom for medical, therapeutic, religious, spiritual, and recreational use.
Drug Administration.
There's going to be a lot of people at that gas station in Gorda trying to find their way to Big Sur and getting lost.
And think about this for a second. If you tried to use a religious exemption to not take the COVID shot, they wouldn't accept that. But if you want a religious exemption to take magic mushrooms so you can get on a psychedelic high, that's okay.
And recreational use.
Drug Administration are trying to just keep you on a drug so they can continue to make money instead of actually resolving your issue. So if magic mushrooms will organically resolve an issue.
I like this guy's train of thought.
The minute he starts talking about the drugs, his cadence changes.
Xanax is killing you, but the shroomies, that's going to change your life, man.
Instead of actually resolving your issue. So
I mean, it makes laser tag more fun.
Instead of actually...
It's organic, like blueberries.
Instead of actually...
Grows from the ground, Johnny.
Instead of actually resolving your issue. So if magic mushrooms will organically resolve an issue, I'm all for it.
Elmer Johnson is the founder of SAG Black Nation, which teaches financial literacy to people of color. He said he also likes the part of the initiative that would clear criminal records for anyone charged with magic mushroom-related crimes.
If it's a nonviolent crime, I think we can rehab the individuals instead of incarcerate.
Decriminalize?
I don't know if you need to rehab. I'll tell you this, it's because some people get confused. It's not necessarily a drug you can get addicted to, because one time I tried to use it right after I use it and it doesn't work.
Okay, so you're high on the magic mushrooms. We know that meth makes people aggressive and makes them want to start fires. We know that pot makes people lethargic. What does magic mushrooms, what does it do to people?
Makes you want to walk outside and go to the movies.
Through traffic?
Well, you're still, at least, the one time I did too many, I am surprised that I'm here today. But the few times where I did it, where, I had a fantastic experience, I knew what a street sign was. I knew how to, not get, one time I did get lost in the parking lot at Universal Studios, but it was a fun time. I was in my early 20s.
So at no point did you start fires or wander into traffic or anything like that?
No. But I did stare at a clock, and it was 6:14 for what felt like an hour.
Decriminalize California campaign director Ryan Munevar said this is the third time they are attempting to gather enough signatures.
3D movies were a lot of fun, I'll tell you that.
Isn't this what Alice in Wonderland was about?
Pretty much.
The first two times.
Although that's also LSD, which usually when they have these bills, those are coupled together.
The first two times we tried to do this, COVID didn't exactly help out. And in the middle of signature collection, everything in the state basically shut down.
But this time,
I don't know, we were still able to get enough signatures to go to Gavin.
So what? The magic mushroom enthusiasts were also COVID bros?
Everything in the state basically shut down.
But this time, he's more confident.
Well, I think his point is that there were less paid signature gatherers harassing me outside of the farmer's market.
I see.
Everything in the state basically shut down.
But this time, he's more confident.
I don't think they're going to do that again. We think we have a really good shot.
But he can count Fawad Anajarn out.
If it's like a for medical reasons, then it should be described for people that has to take this kind of stuff. But if it's not, like, not all the people should take it because, in my opinion, it's a drug.
I mean, it is a drug, literally.
It is. And every so often you go to the doctor, and the doctor will suggest that you take a certain type of drug. If you have high blood pressure, they may suggest high blood pressure pills. If you have high cholesterol, they may suggest high cholesterol pills. What reason would a doctor give for wanting to prescribe you magic mushrooms?
Well, there actually have been studies to show that it does incredible things with PTSD and trauma, especially with veterans. But that's in a very specific prescribed situation where the doctor is monitoring you the whole time so you can't go wander off and stare at the Domino's website for an hour.
Yeah, you tell the people that there's going to be a lot of stolen valor in this state.
The campaign needs to gather close to 547,000 signatures in order to get on the ballot. Ryan told me they have 3,200 volunteers in every county getting to work.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Morgan, we know that there's also a bill to decriminalize psychedelics in the legislature. Do you have an update on that?
Yeah, it's a bill from Senator Scott Wiener.
Of course.
Are all bad ideas in this state coming from his office?
Quite a few of them.
Yeah, it's a bill from Senator Scott Wiener. That bill did not pass the last time around when he attempted it, but he made some changes to it to make it more narrow. And this time around, so far, it's still alive and it's going through the legislative process.
We'll see how these end up. Morgan Reiner.
So either it's going to be on the ballot for you to vote on, or Scott Wiener's going to get it through. But it looks like, here we go, psychedelic California, baby.
I know this is going to sound counterintuitive, and it's going to sound like I've lost my mind. But when I say this, just trust me. You really do not want Nancy Pelosi retiring. If Nancy Pelosi retires, this nut, who is the author of these bad ideas, is going to be the one that replaces her. You think it can't get worse? I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. It can get worse. It can get much, much worse. And by worse, I mean wiener. If you want to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
And Johnny, this is a real shame, but much like whenever we talk about Congresswoman Katie Porter and her run for the Senate, every time we bring up Scott Wiener, we get fantastic emails that I don't think I can read on the air. So I can't do any of those. But Ken writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com, and he did some digging during the commercial break. And apparently, and this is news to me, in the 70s, Cecily Meyer Cruz went on tour with Pink Floyd.
Somebody should tip off Uncle Joe Benson.
I'll get him the vinyl of it.
Anybody want to text Jim Ladd? Rita Wild?
You know, they've really upped their playlist over there. They're playing a lot more 90s, so I should probably send them the new Collective Soul track.
Now, Randy, I don't know if this is just something that is unique to me. I don't know if this is something that happened because of the hot weather, or I don't know if this is a good omen that the public appetite for superhero movies is finally starting to wane. I say all of this because I don't know about you, but it seems like everyone in my orbit was talking about either seeing the Oppenheimer movie this weekend or Barbie.
Or both.
A lot of people spent a lot of time at the Cineplex. Hopefully, these movies did well enough so that Hollywood will start making movies that don't involve masks and capes.
Well, if they look at the results of the box office and how Barbie smashed a whole bunch of records, including the largest opening ever for a female director in Greta Gerwig, Johnny, you might not get movies about superheroes, but get ready for movies about every single toy brand ever.
So what would be next? My Little Pony? Maybe Jim? She-Ra? All of those cartoons that appeal to girls.
Just wait for the Cabbage Patch Kids and the Care Bears.
I would so prefer a movie about any of those people or those characters than movies about superheroes. I'm done with the superheroes. I can't sit through a 3-hour movie. I can't follow along with the plot. So if I have to sit through Barbie, then fine.
Yay, Barbie.
And Oppenheimer apparently did well, too. People wanted to hear about the bomb.
Yeah, and I saw one review that said it was fascinating, but I thought they were going to show dropping the bomb.
They didn't show that part?
I think they leave that to the imagination.
How could you do a movie about the bomb and not show the bomb being dropped?
Might be traumatizing for people. I don't know.
That's like doing a movie about the Titanic and you stop before it hits the iceberg.
They showed them building the bomb. They showed them testing the bomb. But I don't think there was an appetite to show them dropping the bomb on Hiroshima.
I don't know. I think that's relevant to the plot. All right, we've got 2 more hours coming up on the John Phillips Show. The Fix California hour is next. Don't you go anywhere. 790 KABC.
Hell no!